Breakfast
with Graham Liver.
BBC Radio Lancashire.
8:20 now. Houses are just about as varied, really, when you think about it, as the people who actually live in them. But the truth is that the newer your house is, and it's true this, the more likely is it's going to be exactly the same as your next door neighbours. In fact, exactly the same as most of the street, and actually most of the estate where you live. But why does it have to be like that? It's a question that the Blackburn-born fashion designer Wayne Hemingway considered when he embarked on his latest project. It's an estate of new homes in the Fenniscles area of his hometown. And our reporter, Paul O'Gorman, is there for us this morning. Good morning, Paul.
Yeah, good morning, Graham. And do you know what? The builders, they're still here. They're doing all the landscaping. They're still building houses. In fact, the lads are just there's step ladders outside and they're shouting along. And I've told them not to use builders' language whilst we're on the radio. But the truth is, this is a building site, but is it unlike any other I've seen? I'd say it is, really, because the developer that Wayne Hemingway and his wife Geraldine have been working with is a small local one, Kingswood Homes, and they've built this estate. Now, there's 62 homes planned for here, but of the 62, there will be 41 different designs, so they're all different. Now, let's just wander into this one, which is now finished, and Wayne is here to...
Morning.
I'm saying you're here to sort of unveil them, but you're here all the time anyway.
Yeah, we're up regularly. Geraldine more than me. I mean, when you work on a project like this, and especially when it's in the town that you grew up in and you love, you want it to be not that we want all our projects to be great, but there's an extra special bit of love gone into this one from not just Geraldine and me, but our two eldest kids. Well, Jack and Tilly were 31 and 30. This is the first. They're partners in the business. They're also Blackburn fans, and know where their roots are. So there's a love from them gone into it, and then there's all the love from everybody else involved, and it is the love of a team that can deliver something that is a cut above. And here we've had the fully supportive of Blackburn Council. I've got to thank them. The landowner, the famous Fielding family. They decided that they wanted to, in the first place, work with an SME builder and do something a little bit different and leave a legacy of great homes rather than just box bashing like you see everywhere else.
And this is we're off Livesey Branch Road in sort of Fenniscles area. You're calling this the Green Hills. And you're in the shadow of the shrine that is Ewood Park, of course. Tell us about these houses, though. How are they different? Describe this.
Well, the first thing we wanted is that, when you come home from wherever you've been, when you've been at work, whether you've been at school, there's this sense of place of that you don't just walk in, cycling, drive into an estate full of red brick identikit rabbit hutchers. That you come home and it feels like home. That there's beautiful landscape. That you can point to your house and say, that's my house with the such and such, with that coloured brick or with that kind of porch, and you can describe your home rather than just say, I live in a house on an estate where they're all the same.
They're not even all made of the same materials, are they?
Yeah, the idea. I mean, the idea is to get a palette of materials, and Geraldine especially is great at this, at working out a palette of materials that feels like it feels like a whole. It does feel like they all hang together, but it is about that individuality. And eventually here there's going to be hundreds of homes in this site with beautiful views across to Pleasington and across to the hills of Darwin. We are in Pennine, Lancashire, and we wanted to do homes that reflected the materials of Pennine, Lancashire. When you first come into this development, you see a Lancashire stone wall, not some rubbishy wooden fence. Right. It's just it's that kind of detail.
I tell you what, though, I mean, we know your passion, but let's ask a man who's had to put it together, because Paul Jones, you're from Kingswood Homes, the developer. What's it like working with a guy like this? Because I imagine as a house builder, you build one, then you build the rest all the same, don't you?
Yeah, if only it was that simple. I think working with Wayne has been an eye-opener. It's taken an awful lot of organisation and a lot of team effort from Kingswood side, but it's been fantastic, and the results speak for themselves. The site looks amazing, and
you've just won an award, have you?
We have, yeah. We won the best development in the Northwest for over 100 units last night with the Insider Property Award. So that was a really good day.
But all right then, okay, devil's advocate. For somebody now, and there's thousands of people listening who are in this category, whose house is exactly the same as next door, what's wrong with it?
Well, what's wrong with it is...
Because bear in mind, we've paid a lot of money for these houses.
What's wrong with it? It's not the people who've bought it's fault. What's wrong with it is a system that allows it to happen. Yeah. The best parts of our towns are always where you get this serendipity, often by our Victorian and Edwardian forefathers, who thought about what streets and what place feels like. And that's why still, in this country, we've still got that situation where more people prefer to buy a Victorian house or an Edwardian house than a new house. And you can't blame them, because there aren't enough built like this. This will leave a legacy like the Victorians and the Edwardians did. This will mature beautifully. It won't need regenerating. It won't become a sink estate in 30 years' time, like so many that we built in the 70s and the 80s did. We should be building homes that are going to last for at least 200 years.
So do you want to start a trend then?
Well, we've been banging up. We did our first big housing development in the northeast in Gateshead 17 years ago, and we changed things a bit. But the problem is that at the moment, most of the big house builders get away with it. There isn't the planning strength. There aren't councils like Blackburn who care. There aren't enough SMEs out there like Paul and Kingswood who are given a chance.
But can you do that, Paul? If another Wayne Hemingway, there isn't one, comes to you tomorrow and says, "Oh, I want to build them all different," that's a nightmare for folk like you, isn't it?
It isn't. It isn't. The point that Wayne and the team kind of made was that good design doesn't have to be expensive, and that's a really good point because it doesn't. Good design can be of its time. It doesn't necessarily have to be a box with a bay window stuck on the front or a.
And kind of mean good design comes from rolling your sleeves up, a bit of elbow grease, and a team that wants to leave a legacy and cares about Britain and doesn't just care about money. I'm pretty sure that you could make a bit more money by simplifying everything, but you can still sometimes you can make enough money and care about the world.
Right. Well, thanks for talking to us this morning. I have to say, Graham, they're remarkable. These places. I'm
looking at the web. They look lovely. They do look very nice.
Yeah, and you can come, and it opens to the public tomorrow morning, so the public can come and have a look at the show home and everything. And it's greenhills.co. Just type in Green Hills Blackburn and it'll come up.
All right.
Other developments exist, of course, Graham.
But none of them are anywhere near as good as this.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne. Wayne Hemingway, along with Paul O'Gorman at the new development at Fenny Scholes in Blackburn. 27 minutes after 8 o'clock. It's BBC Radio Lancashire.